When we think of the attempts to kill Adolf Hitler, we imagine bombs hidden in briefcases or conspiracies among his generals. But some of the most dangerous plots against the Führer's life did not involve explosives at all. They happened in his private medical office, carried out by the very men he trusted with his health. This is the story of a different kind of war. A silent war fought with syringes, scalpels, and mysterious medicines. It is the story of Adolf Hitler's doctors. These physicians faced an impossible choice. They had all taken the Hippocratic Oath, a sacred promise to protect human life. Yet they found themselves responsible for the health of a man who was systematically destroying millions of lives. What was their duty? To follow their oath and keep their patient healthy, even if it meant helping him continue his terrible work? Or to break their oath and use their unique access to stop him, even if it meant becoming killers themselves? Adolf Hitler was not a healthy man. As the war progressed, his body began to fail him. He suffered from intense stomach cramps, severe tremors in his hands, and a rapidly changing mood. He was a difficult patient, obsessed with strange health ideas, and terrified of cancer. This made him completely dependent on his doctors. He needed them not just to treat his illnesses, but to get him through each day. They had immense power over him. They controlled what medicines he took. They decided when to operate. They held his life in their hands every time they prepared an injection or wrote a prescription. Some of these doctors were fiercely loyal Nazis. Others were just ambitious men who enjoyed being close to power. A few were skilled professionals caught in a nightmare, watching a patient destroy himself and the world around him. In the coming chapters, we will meet these men. We will look at the treatments they gave Hitler. We will see the strange medicines, the questionable surgeries, and the shocking neglect. We will ask the difficult question: were these doctors simply incompetent, or were some of them secretly trying to do what the bomb plots had failed to do? This is the story of the medical war against Adolf Hitler. It is a story of poisons that looked like medicine, of surgeries that may have been sabotage, and of the terrible burden placed on the men who held the Führer's pulse in their fingers. The most important doctor in Adolf Hitler's life was a strange and unusual man named Theodor Morell. Before he met Hitler, Morell was not a famous doctor. He had a small practice and sold vitamin pills and other health remedies. He was overweight, with bad manners and poor hygiene. Other doctors did not respect him. So how did this man become the most trusted physician to the leader of Germany? It happened in 1936. Hitler was suffering from terrible stomach cramps and skin problems. None of his current doctors could help him. Morell was brought in as a last resort. He gave Hitler a special treatment of his own invention. It worked almost immediately. Hitler's stomach pains went away. From that day on, Hitler believed Morell was a medical genius. He called him his magician. Morell became a constant presence in Hitler's life. He traveled with him everywhere and saw him multiple times a day. Morell's main treatment was injections. He gave Hitler shots for everything: for energy, for sleep, for stress, for his stomach. Hitler received several injections every single day. He became completely dependent on these shots, calling them his vitamin injections. But the truth was much darker. Morell's injections were not just vitamins. They contained powerful and dangerous drugs. He gave Hitler stimulants to make him feel energetic and confident before important meetings. Then he gave him sedatives to calm him down afterward. This created a dangerous cycle of highs and lows. Other doctors around Hitler were horrified. They suspected Morell was a quack. They saw how Hitler's health was declining, not improving. His skin turned yellow. His hands began to shake. But no one could convince Hitler to fire his magician. Morell had too much power. The Reich Injection Master held the Führer's health in his hands. And the mixture of drugs he was pumping into Hitler's body may have changed the course of history, affecting the mind of the man who was leading the world into war. Dr. Morell's vitamin injections were actually a dangerous mix of powerful drugs. He kept detailed records, which give us a shocking look at what he was giving the Führer. The injections included strong stimulants like amphetamines. These gave Hitler a false sense of energy and confidence before his speeches. But when the drugs wore off, he would crash. Then, Morell would give him sedatives to sleep. The list of substances was long and strange. It included hormones, steroids, and even extracts from animal organs. One of the most bizarre treatments was an injection containing bull semen, which Morell claimed would boost vitality. This chemical cocktail had terrible effects. Hitler's body became dependent on the drugs. His tremors got worse. His skin developed a grayish-yellow color. His moods swung wildly from extreme energy to deep depression. Morell was essentially experimenting on his patient. The constant drugging likely clouded Hitler's judgment in the war's final years. The man making fateful decisions for millions was being manipulated by a dangerous mix of chemicals, all administered by his most trusted doctor. In 1944, Hitler faced a new health crisis. He developed a non-cancerous growth on his vocal cords that threatened his ability to speak. For a leader who used his voice to command millions, this was a disaster. The surgery fell to Dr. Karl Gebhardt, a senior SS doctor and a close friend of Himmler. The operation was delicate, requiring great skill to avoid damaging Hitler's voice. What happened next raised serious questions. The surgery was performed in a makeshift operating room without proper equipment. During the procedure, Gebhardt made an unusual decision. He removed an unusually large amount of tissue from Hitler's throat. The operation was officially a success. Hitler could speak again, but his voice was permanently damaged, becoming weaker and more strained. More importantly, the aggressive removal of tissue created a significant risk. It could have easily led to a fatal infection or bleeding. Was this a simple medical choice or something more? Given Gebhardt's high rank in the SS, he knew the war was turning against Germany. The question remains, did this loyal Nazi doctor see an opportunity to end the war by performing a surgery that looked correct but carried a hidden, deadly risk? Other doctors in Hitler's circle watched Morell's treatments with growing alarm. They were skilled professionals who could see the danger. Dr. Karl Brandt and Dr. Hans-Karl von Hasselbach had been Hitler's earlier physicians. They became deeply concerned about Morell's strange drugs and constant injections. They saw Hitler's health declining and believed Morell was a fraud. They tried to warn Hitler. They told him that Morell's treatments were unsafe. But Hitler would not listen. He trusted his magician completely. He saw the other doctors as jealous. Frustrated, Brandt and von Hasselbach even set a trap. They secretly tested one of Morell's vitamin injections. They discovered it contained a powerful drug, not vitamins. But when they presented their findings, Hitler still refused to believe them. In the end, Hitler fired Brandt and von Hasselbach. Their careers were ruined for trying to protect their patient. Their silence was forced upon them. They were powerless as they watched Morell's dangerous treatments continue, unable to stop the man they were sworn to care for from being slowly poisoned. By 1944, Hitler's physical decline was obvious to those around him. His left hand trembled constantly. He dragged his left foot when he walked. His posture became stooped. These were classic signs of a serious neurological condition. Most historians believe Hitler had Parkinson's disease. This would explain his tremors and shuffling walk. But some doctors at the time wondered if something else was happening. The powerful drugs from Dr. Morell could have made these symptoms worse. Some medications can cause side effects that look like Parkinson's disease. Other doctors suspected a more serious condition, like a brain tumor or syphilis, that was going untreated. The real question is, did anyone try to find out for sure? With modern technology, we could have diagnosed him easily. But in the 1940s, his doctors relied on simple exams, and Dr. Morell controlled all access to the patient. Hitler's mysterious illness remains one of history's great medical puzzles. Was it a natural disease? Was it made worse by drugs? Or was there a more serious condition that his doctors chose to ignore? In the final days of the war, a new doctor entered Hitler's story. Dr. Ernst-Günther Schenk was sent to work in the emergency hospital set up in the Reich Chancellery. As Soviet troops closed in, he was ordered down into the Führer bunker. What he saw shocked him. The mighty Führer was now a broken old man. Hitler's body trembled uncontrollably. His face was pale and waxy. He could barely walk without support. Dr. Schenk was especially alarmed by the medical situation. He found no proper medical supplies in the bunker. There were no sterile bandages, no real surgical tools, and almost no useful medicines. The bunker's pharmacy was mostly full of Dr. Morell's strange drugs and injections. Schenk watched as Morell continued giving Hitler his usual injections, even in these final hours. The doctor realized that the man who had led Germany for 12 years was now completely dependent on chemical cocktails just to function. Schenk's account gives us our last clear picture of Hitler's health. It shows a leader whose body was failing him, kept going only by dangerous drugs, in a situation where proper medical care was no longer possible. We end our story with the most difficult question of all. Were Hitler's doctors secretly trying to kill him? Looking at the evidence, we see a troubling picture. Dr. Morell fed Hitler a constant stream of dangerous drugs. Dr. Gebhardt performed a surgery that could easily have caused a fatal infection. Other doctors saw what was happening but remained silent. But does this mean they were assassins? The truth is probably more complicated. Some doctors may have been incompetent. Dr. Morell might have truly believed his strange treatments would help. Dr. Gebhardt may have simply been a poor surgeon. Other doctors may have been following orders. In Nazi Germany, questioning the Führer's chosen doctor could mean death. Yet the possibility remains that some doctors saw a unique opportunity. They had daily access to Hitler. They could have weakened him slowly with drugs or taken a chance during surgery. They could do what bombs and bullets had failed to do. We may never know their true intentions, but we do know the result. Hitler's health declined rapidly under their care. Whether through malice or incompetence, the men trusted with keeping the Führer healthy may have actually helped bring about his downfall. After Hitler's death, the stories of his doctors did not end. They had to face the consequences of their actions, just like other Nazi leaders. When the war ended, the Allies arrested the key figures from Hitler's bunker. Dr. Theodor Morell was among them. During his interrogation, he defended his treatments. He always claimed he was just trying to help his patient. Because he was not a political leader, he was eventually released. He died a few years later, largely forgotten and in poor health. Dr. Karl Gebhardt was not so lucky. He was put on trial for his role in terrible medical experiments performed on prisoners in concentration camps. The court found him guilty of war crimes and crimes against humanity. He was executed by hanging in 1948. His work for Hitler was a small part of the evidence against him. The other doctors, like Brandt and von Hasselbach, had mixed fates. Some faced short prison sentences. Others returned to normal life, their names forever linked to the regime they served. The legacy of Hitler's doctors is a dark one. It serves as a warning about the danger when medicine becomes mixed with blind loyalty to power. It shows how easy it is for healers to become enablers of terrible things. Their story forces us to ask difficult questions about duty, morality, and the power held by those who have the trust of a dangerous leader. Looking back, what can we conclude about the doctors who treated Hitler? The evidence paints a complex picture of failure, but not a clear case of murder. Dr. Morell was almost certainly not an assassin. He was a loyal follower who used dangerous methods to keep his patient functioning. His treatments were reckless, but they were meant to maintain Hitler's power, not end it. Dr. Gebhardt's suspicious surgery is the strongest case for a deliberate act. Yet, we cannot be certain. He may have simply been an arrogant surgeon taking a foolish risk. The other doctors present a tragedy of missed opportunities. They saw the danger, but lacked the power or courage to stop it. Their medical oaths were crushed by the fear of the Nazi system. In the end, Hitler's doctors failed in their most basic duty. They did not protect their patients' health. Whether through bad medicine, blind loyalty, or fear, they allowed a sick man to become sicker. The final diagnosis is not about a single disease, but about a complete breakdown of medical ethics. It stands as a permanent lesson about what happens when science serves evil instead of humanity. The story of Hitler's doctors is not just a strange piece of history, it is a warning that remains important for us today. It shows us how easily experts can be corrupted by power. The doctors enjoyed their special status. They lived in luxury and had Hitler's trust. This made them ignore their duty to tell him the truth about his health. It also shows the danger of yes men. Hitler surrounded himself with people who would never challenge him. The doctors who tried to warn him were fired. The one who told him what he wanted to hear kept his job, even if his methods were dangerous. Most of all, this story reminds us that good people must sometimes make hard choices. The doctors faced a terrible moral test. Should they follow their oath to help their patient, even if it meant helping a monster? Or should they break their oath to stop a greater evil? We may never know if any of them secretly tried to kill Hitler, but we do know that none of them succeeded in saving him from his own decline, or in saving millions of others from his war. The legacy of these doctors is a lesson for all of us about the importance of courage, ethics, and speaking truth to power no matter the cost. Adolf Hitler was perhaps history's most dangerous patient. He did not die from a doctor's poison or a failed surgery. He died by his own hand in a bunker, as the world he broke burned above him. But his doctors were with him until the very end. They witnessed the final result of their work, a man physically destroyed by stress, possible disease, and a toxic cocktail of drugs. A leader whose judgment in the war's final years was likely clouded by the very medications meant to help him. In a way, each doctor had helped to weaken the Führer. Morell's drugs damaged his body and mind. Gebhardt's surgery left him weaker. The silent doctors allowed it all to happen. They did not kill him with a single bullet or a clear plot. Instead, they may have helped to slowly dismantle him, piece by piece, through bad medicine and poor choices. The story of Hitler's doctors ends not with a clear answer, but with a haunting image. It is the image of medical experts sworn to heal, who became part of the destructive machine of the Third Reich. Their story is a powerful reminder that when medicine loses its moral compass, it can enable great evil, even without meaning to.